Topic number 2. Netflix, Disney. Disney to end Netflix deal and launch its own streaming service. This is coming courtesy of The Verge. Disney will end its distribution deal with Netflix and launch its own streaming service. The company announced today. This is dated from August 8th.
The day of the eclipse. I think. Wasn't it the 18th?
No, this is from the 8th.
I thought when it was official when they were pulling their content.
Oh,
was that the 8th or was that the 18th?
Oh, well, it's not going to be until it's a few years off. Netflix.
No, I think they immediately pulled the Disney stuff off of Netflix on the 18th or something.
It says right here, Netflix won't lose its Disney movies right away. Disney says it plans to cut Netflix off starting with the studio's 2019 films, and Netflix says it'll be able to keep all the Disney movies it gets through the end of that year.
Because initially I thought it was just like
gonna be right away
separation, like
I was
Dad's leaving.
Reading an article from the CEO of Netflix. I've been talking to people in tech for over a decade about just the fact that, with the digitalization and the democratization of content going through different outlets, not just having your cable come into your house or your satellite or however you get it, or over the airwaves, the fact that all this stuff is blending and you can get it one form or the other, it's going to percolate everywhere. And as soon as you have all these other options, even the CEO of Netflix was saying, we knew at some point, of course they're going to do this. Why wouldn't they? Yeah. That's why they've been investing so much, and they're still in debt with their own premium content, because their eventual goal is to have the majority of their stuff that they just made themselves. Because why would Disney not do this? It makes total sense. When I talk to people that cut the cord, that don't want to pay a cable subscription for their TV service anymore and just get their stuff through the internet, usually the biggest holdout by a large margin is always sports. You can get most stuff right now cord cutting and get them a la carte, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But the one big holdout that you always want to make sure you still have cable or satellite for is for sports, whether that's ESPN or the sports networks.
I am them.
Right, exactly. And that is owned by Disney. And I remember hearing even people from HBO to all over the place say the day you finally see you can get ESPN without a cable subscription, that's when you know that the tide is about to go huge. And now they're
all of ESPN,
right,
without the blackouts.
Exactly. Yes.
And Fox Sports and all the other ones.
Yep. Now that we're about to see that and get ESPN and all this stuff a la carte, it'll be interesting to see all this stuff break up. Now, here's something I don't think people understand. Everybody, usually when they don't want to pay the cable price, they want to get the a la carte option and just watch the channels that they watch, for cheaper. What people I don't think understand is one of the reasons you get so many channels for the price you pay with cable or satellite is because they're bundled in with all these channels. When you split them up, they're going to be a little bit more expensive per. So really quickly, it can add up to being about the same amount you were spending for cable or satellite, even though you have way less channels. But so if people think, now I'm going to be able to get all the channels I want, including sports, and I'm only going to be paying $20 to $30 a month, I got news for you.
Each. For each one.
Yeah,
it's like HBO Now.
Mm-hmm.
$15 a month. Am I willing to pay it? Yeah, I'm willing to pay it. Could I get it for the same price through my internet provider? Probably.
Mm-hmm.
But
plus, you can stop that whenever you want to. How cool is that? Yeah. You can start and stop it. What is going to be nice is that kind of freedom that you can start and stop this stuff as you want to. But yeah, I mean, now CBS has their own monthly service fee for CBS All Access if you want their stuff. We got Hulu, we got Netflix. Disney now is going to have their own, which includes Marvel, which includes Disney, which includes ESPN. This will be really interesting, and I think people are going to have more customized and pick and choose. I mean, you can do Sling TV, you can do Direct TV now over the internet. You can do PlayStation View, which is just TV through the. I mean, there's all these different avenues, and it's cool because they all have their unique. You're not going to be able to go over to someone's house and like, oh, they got TV. Then of course they're going to have the FX, Disney Channel, and ESPN. You don't fucking know. They might have completely different stuff than you did.
Yeah, and I guess. You're going to see a real shakeup in this area because it's still not definitive when it comes to streaming what the rights are.
What do you mean?
Because there are services now, and I don't know if Sling utilizes it or if they actually have actual contracts with these different streaming services, but there's people that sell the black boxes, and They're not necessarily
Oh,
violating rules
I see what you're saying.
because the ownership and content of a streaming service is different than an actual channel and
Sure.
content from the channel.
You're talking about like those Android boxes that'll go pull out movies and stuff that are on the internet that are pirated versions and stream them to their box,
Yeah,
like Android
like
box
services like I think it's like Kobe's one of them.
Sure, and I really think
Um,
that the fact that they're such a small. First of all, you got to be kind of technically proficient to kind of use that stuff. Even
Yes and no. I mean, some of these things are getting to the point where it's almost plug and play.
they are getting better, but I would say never to the point where, let's say, our parents could figure out how to use that stuff, and set it up.
Yeah, but I
or
mean,
use-
is that the demographic you want to cling to?
No, no,
You
no.
wanna-
What
the
I'm saying is,
blockbuster- the
no, no, no.
blockbuster model.
Of course not. Of course not. What I'm saying is, the market right now that is into getting something like that and getting the free. Sometimes I'll see people post this stuff on Facebook too. Free TV, and I'm like, do you realize if that gets big enough, it's gone. It's going to
not
have
free, yeah.
It's going to be shut down. It's just small enough that it's under the radar, where it's not caught their attention. As soon as it does, that shit is shut down. Now, legitimate stuff already have all their contracts with the streaming companies set in place, ironclad, like Sling. All these ones that are official, DirecTV
Yeah.
Now, PlayStation View.
Yeah.
All those have deals set up, or else they wouldn't even exist. But I know what
Yeah.
you're talking about when it comes to those illegitimate, let's call them that, boxes
Yes,
that you buy.
Yes,
Sure.
the bastard boxes.
That's a good way to put it.
But no, I know that it's just going to happen. There's going to have to be some hard legislation that gets put in place that's going to straighten that out, because not only is it that these companies are going to a streaming service and there's questions whether ownership applies in certain situations, but at some point, and it's already become an issue, the actors, the producers, the people working on these movies are not seeing their full share of it like they do when it's actually carried on a cable channel and things like that. I mean, AMC's even running into it right now with The Walking Dead, and the big thing that they somehow owe either Kirkman or the production company like $30 million an episode
Right.
because of what they're making on this stuff and their returns. So I think we'll see a lot in the next few years kind of moving to legitimize streaming as something just from a business standpoint. Now, as a consumer, it just sounds like more money for me, so I'm not excited about it. But if I were in their situations, I mean, I'd want to make sure that I'm getting my money for the work that I've done.
All media, from music to TV shows to movies, the online streaming royalties and the compensation that they've got versus what they're used to for broadcast television, has been. I mean, the contracts were already in place because they couldn't even exist without them. But yeah, I think that you're right. They've been arguing over that they want more of it, and the monetization of streaming over the internet. In fact, they did an entire South Park episode where they were basically talking about this topic and making fun of the writer's strike that we had a few years ago, back in, what was that, 2011 or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Because there hadn't been enough monetization over the internet, that there was enough money coming in to warrant you complaining that you deserve more when there isn't even that much money coming into it. That's been the same case with music, like companies like Spotify and all that
Or
stuff.
Pandora,
that
like
don't even have enough revenue coming in when it's only $5 to $10 a person a month to cover this stuff. But as soon as you get to a point of about 200 to 300 million subscribers, it becomes very viable, and so their goal is just to hold out till then. So that will be interesting to see. You're right, how all that stuff plays out. But I don't think it's going to be more money on the side of the consumer than they're paying right now. I think it'll be less. That's one of my favorite parts about the democratization of the digital distribution of content through the internet is now that you have so many different avenues to get your stuff, what does competition always do to pricing? Always. It always lowers it.
Yeah, to some extent. But I mean, this also, I mean, if you want to go kind of higher arcing, this is where the net neutrality things come into play too, because at this point, information is power, and access to that information is even more power. So if we start to kind of socialize the internet based on income, it's going to be a huge thing. And that's where, I mean, we're heading there. I mean, it's not stopping. The train is not stopping.
If we try to do what now?
So if you try to monetize the internet based on income, provides you certain privileges on the internet and makes it so that you can get to certain content.
Okay.
Like it's the net neutrality aspect of it. They want to keep everything on the internet open for everybody. Make it so that, it's something accessible to everyone.
Right.
So I mean, it all falls under that umbrella, but
Sure.
it's kind of interesting to think what's going to happen in the next, let's say, 10 years in regards to that.
I think even if net neutrality that we have right now gets taken away, I think we'll have it back in a few years. Honestly, I don't think the public is going to stand for.
Well, the thing is the internet is so open right now that if you start doing that, piracy is just going to be the norm. It's going to be the Wild West. The internet is the Wild West, if you think about it. And it'll just continue to do that.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's what I mean. That's how it'll balance itself. I mean, if there's one thing that is so great about the nature of capitalism is it tends to find its balance what works. If they take away net neutrality and try to...
It's not just capitalism, though. The internet's worldwide.
Well,
I mean, you got to think about it in that
whatever you want to call
too.
it, the natural, just, you know what I mean? The reaction that you will get will supersede and dictate how stuff's going to go over time. I don't mean next year. I mean just overall.
Yeah.
I just really don't believe. I think that if you did have a cable company that started intentionally slowing down, your footage or making it harder to get to whatever content you wanted to get because it wasn't theirs, and they did that to their benefit, which is obviously unethical. Even if the law is not in place, which I still think it should be, you can imagine how that's going to be all over the fucking internet. Privacy groups are going to go nuts. People are going to flip out at the company, and you know what's going to happen after all the dust. This is what I love, is it always ends up fixing itself over time. You know what I mean? It'll find its balance. There might be some bullshit in between, in the middle, but, people tend to spend their money, and when they get pissed off, they will go somewhere else.
Yeah, ultimately, when it comes down to it, cable television, streaming, it's all a luxury. This isn't something we need in our lives. Mm-hmm. It's not like food. It's not like housing. It's just like anything else. It's easy to turn something off.
Sorry, I couldn't take my eyes off my iPad, but I'm sure that there was a point. No, that's cool.
No, it is interesting with Disney doing this because I know, I think pre-show, or maybe at the beginning of this, since we seem to get off topic a lot, there was rumor that Disney was looking to put Marvel in their own streaming thing as well. I don't know if they're going to lump it in with their own thing or if it's going to be separate, but they have a lot. Marvel, Star Wars, there's additional content that they can put out there, either through their own streaming service or through it. Because
I want to say this that they're going to be doing includes all of their own properties. So that includes Disney properties, Marvel properties, and Lucasfilm.
And like you said, even ESPN is their property.
Yep.
Is it ABC that they own, or is it NBC?
Yeah, they own ABC.
ABC, yeah. Mm-hmm. So even
but again, that doesn't mean that everything they own can only be under their umbrella. Like right now, currently, you can get the majority of ABC shows through Hulu or through the ABC app if you already have an existing, cable or satellite provider. So I don't see them just being all their own. If anything, you want to diversify and have other
the
stuff.
Olympics. Think about it. Don't they own the rights to the Olympics? Is that ABC or is that NBC?
That's something that a network bids for every time. They're usually about over a decade or more out there that they have, but no one owns just the rights. They just bid for them every time the Olympics airs, many years in advance. Yeah, it'd be interesting with the streaming services and stuff like that. Because I know that YouTube has tried to get into NFL and stuff like that, and broadcast games and YouTube. That's another one that's starting to do TV service. You can get TV service through YouTube in a lot of major cities now too.
Yeah.
I just like all this because when you're going to have, there's one thing I can't stand is the fact that we don't have enough competition for internet service providers, which we fucking need more of. There should be more than one cable company in a city, in my opinion. To say certainly. There's competition. You got those, and then you got your one company that does DSL and maybe fiber. Fuck you, that's two.
And then you have, and then you can get a dish. You can get an ugly dish that's the concrete statue of
Dish
2000s.
Internet. Dish TV is great. Dish Internet sucks. The latency sucks.
The TV, do they have the same things? Yes. But you know what I do not want to see on my house is a fucking satellite dish. To me, it's the concrete statue of my generation. I grew up in the 80s when everybody had these ugly-ass concrete statues in their front yard, whether it was a guy on a donkey or a jockey or whatever it might have been, a fucking concrete deer, whatever. I grew up in that generation, and to me, the satellite dish that you put on your house is no more appealing to me than those concrete statues. Would be in
Really?
my front yard.
We were the
Yeah.
opposite growing up. If you had a direct TV dish on your house, you're like, that was fucking cool.
Now,
Cable was
now
the
when
boring guy.
we had a dish when we lived out in the country, and that thing was 6 feet wide. Now that's a fucking dish. I mean, that was like we got the satellite dish, right? And this thing moves, right, to pick up different satellites. That was something because at the time you had access to so much more than even a cable company could give you. But like just you drive through a neighborhood and just count the number of satellite dishes you see on the front of a house. That when I look at it, I'm like, why isn't that on the back of their house? I mean, I don't need to advertise for these people. The sky is the sky. So it's just, I just think they're
No, that's I've never talked to someone that drove. Oh, there's been a few people like if they wanted it to be on their lawn instead of. Yeah, I guess that's kind of true. No, I don't know. It's never bugged me, but to each their own. If it's aesthetically not pleasing, then
to me, I do not like them. Now, the service they provide, there's people that love their dish service, and customer service-wise, there's dish companies out there that, whether it's DirecTV or Dish Network, that people love the service they get from them, especially over the cable companies and what they've done.
right. But they're still not perfect. Any provider you're going to have for internet or TV, look at their overall. It's going to be a lot of horror stories and a lot of people loving it. I think the bottom end of the spectrum, you got Time Warner, the most hated company in the fucking world. Yeah, and Comcast, and then everybody else up from there. But still, regardless. Yeah. No, this is cool though. I love the fact that we're going to have so many choices through the internet because that's going to keep competition really tight, which is going to keep the prices down. The fact that like, well, fuck you, I can go to DirecTV now, or I can go to Sling, or I can go to PlayStation View, or I can go to YouTube. This is awesome. This is only going to be
It'll
great
be
for
interesting
consumers.
to see if the Disney Channel continues to be carried by the DirecTVs and the Slings and even the cable companies once this all comes out. Because now that I have the Apple TV and I have the app for the Disney XD and Disney Junior and stuff, if those things will be continue to be bundled with the cable services. And
I'm sure they still will be. It's just it's a different group. If you're either cord cutting or you're not, so either way, Disney wants to get in your house. This is just another way for them to do that. That'll be cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, for those of you watching, let us know what you think. Disney streaming, yay?
Yeah.
Or nay? Let us know what you think.